Alright, so this is the spider. First, the manager is again a debug tool for initializing it, and then we can spawn a spider whenever we so please. Pool, nothing notable here. It's like any other pool. The factory, we have the same levers for the wave manager to use: active, speed, and spawn rate. The receiving an alarm. We have a setup, and then create and recycle the spider. We have some default values in case we don't get any, and the spider factory is in charge of the spider sound as well. So, let's move on to the spider. It has the same game object things: draw, update, destroy, collision, some type, sprite and collision, bitmap, and then the commands. And then finally it has some private variables for it to edit, and these are controlling the movement of the spider. We move into the spider itself. Once more, creation handles sprite, command, all that fun stuff. And initializing is in charge of setting up the complicated rules for the spider. So we're going to go over them in a little more in-depth than the others. Horizontal speed, vertical speed can be different, but they are currently the same. Horizontal move determines whether the spider is simply moving up and down or actually progressing across the screen. And we start off with it true, so that we can get onto the screen and start moving around. We have an alarm for every 0.5 seconds, just to control our just a random update. Within the alarm itself, we set a random time, as you'll see, but that's for later. And left or right determines which direction the centipede will move across the screen, left or right, and has a random chance. Random to either 0 or 1, which internally will make sense, but seeing it is a little weird. Max spider height determines the maximum, how high the spider can go. It's like the maximum, the highest point that the spider can reach. Max range is how far it can deviate from its center. Basically, the spider determines a single Y value, which is its center. And as it moves across the screen, it will never stray further than max range away from that center. Basically, it's height times 5. Top determines the top of the band. The band can be, which is max spider, which is determined partially by max spider height. But this is the top of the band. This is the center. And technically, this can also be used to calculate the bottom. Spawn location simply determines the spawn location and position together work to determine whether it's on the left or right side. This assumes right, but then if left ends up being 0, then times spawn location is 0. Or if it's 1, then we do use this. Like I said, it's a messy internal logic, but it works, so there's that. Next we have our update function. We simply move for position Y, we move vertical speed, and then for position X, if we have horizontal move, 0 or 1. If it's 1, then we're moving X. If it's 0, then we're not. And if we reach the end of if we go off screen, we destroy ourselves. Next, for the alarm. I mentioned this before. So every time the alarm goes off, vertical speed is swapped. So if we were moving up, now we're moving down. Next, we determine whether or not our horizontal move will reverse itself as well. So if we're moving in the X direction, there's a random chance that we will stop. And if we are stopped, there's a random chance we'll move forward. get a random float. Then we use some math to determine if this time plus our movement will take us outside of the acceptable range. If it will, then we adjust the time to make it so that the alarm will go off as we hit that point. Otherwise, we just go ahead with what we have. Like I said, the logic of the spider is pretty messy, but it gets the job done. On collision with a bullet, we send the position to the command and then kill ourselves. And on destroy, we cancel the alarm, yada yada, usual cleanup stuff. So all in all, that's the spider.